Welcome to MetaYeda with your host, Dr. Elhanan Gazit, your ultimate destination for leaders and creators. Here, we share some of the best metaverse, gaming, and digital innovation news, stories, and insights. Think fast, level up smart. Game on.
All right, so today we are diving deep into one of Dr. Elhanan Gazit's Gaming in Mind podcast episodes, the one with Captain Ben.
Oh, yeah.
And for folks who maybe aren't familiar, Captain Ben, huge in the Brawl Stars world.
Yeah, he is.
Especially the Hebrew gaming community. I mean, we're talking top-tier content creator, big following on YouTube. And what we're going to do today is really unpack his story and see what kind of leadership lessons we can pull out of it. Especially, I mean, think about it. This age of AI. Everything changing so fast. I think there's some really interesting insights here that go way beyond just gaming. This is about leveling up in a very real sense, our strategic thinking, our leadership skills. So are you ready to dive in?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, let's do it.
So one of the things that really struck me about Captain Ben's story was how he turned his love for gaming into something so much bigger. You know, he starts creating content back in 2017, not with some fancy studio setup or anything. We're talking iPad, a phone, basic editing software. But his driving force wasn't about, like, you know, fame or fortune. It was pure passion.
Yeah, I love it. It's like that old saying, fix the roof while the sun is shining.
Exactly.
He was building his skills, following his passion, not even necessarily knowing where it would lead.
Right, and I think that's such a powerful lesson for all of us, especially now. When AI is disrupting everything, it's like that passion-driven approach, honing your skills, building that strong foundation can open up these incredible opportunities that you might not even see coming.
Totally. And you know one thing Captain Ben did that I thought was really interesting? He took all these complex English updates about Brawl Stars and translated them into Hebrew, which made the game so much more accessible, especially for younger players in Israel.
Right.
And it's more than just creating content.
It is.
It's about building a community.
Absolutely. He understood his audience, you know, their needs, their challenges, and he found a way to provide real value, that kind of community building. It's such a crucial skill for leaders in any field.
Oh, 100%.
Think about it. Understanding your team, anticipating their needs, communicating clearly, those are the things that build trust and loyalty.
Couldn't agree more. And, you know, speaking of recognizing talent, Captain Ben was invited to join Supercell's creator program at the highest level.
Wow.
Which is just amazing. I mean, it's a real testament to the power of user-generated content. UGC?
Huge, right. Brands are starting to understand user-generated content. It's so powerful because it's authentic. It comes directly from the community.
And you know what's really cool? Captain Ben, he gets early access to content, provides feedback, helps shape the game's development. It's like a true collaboration.
That co-creation aspect, it's something that a lot of experts are talking about, like Catherine D. Henry, who specializes in the metaverse and Web3. She believes that's the future of brand engagement.
Interesting. Now, there was this lawsuit recently against Genshin Impact, all about loot boxes. Some parents were claiming these mechanics basically encourage kids to gamble.
It's a tricky one.
Right.
It is.
And Captain Ben, you know, he offers a different perspective.
Oh, yeah.
He asks, are loot boxes really gambling? Or are they just a way to create excitement and anticipation in the game? Which, I mean, food for thought, right?
Yeah.
So where do we go with this? How do we create those engaging experiences? But also, how do we do it mindfully?
I think that's the key question here. As gamification becomes more and more prevalent, you know, we're talking marketing, education, everywhere. We really have to understand the psychology behind it and how to design ethically.
Yeah. This is a conversation that's just getting started.
I think so.
I think so, too. Yeah.
You know, this kind of leads us to another interesting thing about the whole gaming world, the growing presence of women. I mean, Captain Ben talks about how Brawl Stars is even featuring more female characters and how there are more and more women gamers in general, especially in the content creation space.
Which is so great to see, like even just on TikTok, Instagram, so many talented women gamers showcasing their skills, their personalities.
It's amazing. And, you know, this kind of ties into that bigger conversation about encouraging women in STEM field. Right. Gaming can play such a huge role there.
Yeah.
Sparking that early interest in technology, problem solving.
Yeah. It's not just entertainment. It's like a gateway. future careers.
Exactly.
And speaking of careers, Captain Ben just launched this online course. It's called YouTube from 0 to 100.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was really interesting, like a perfect example of how the gaming world is leading the way for creator-driven economies.
Right. So smart.
Yeah, he's literally empowering others to turn their passion into a profession, build a career around creating content.
Which is so relevant today with the gig economy and all.
Oh, totally. Like, we need those evolving skill sets.
Yeah.
So it really all comes back to passion, huh?
I mean, passion is definitely a key ingredient.
Yeah.
But it's not the only one.
Right.
You know, Captain Ben's story really highlights the importance of strategic thinking, especially in a fast-paced environment like online content creation.
It's always changing.
Right.
Like, he had to adapt to all the YouTube changes, figure out how to keep his audience engaged.
Oh.
And ultimately build a sustainable career.
It's true. Those are valuable skills anywhere.
Yeah.
And even more critical, I think, in the age of AI, adaptability, strategic thinking, being able to learn and evolve quickly, I think those are going to be the defining characteristics of successful leaders moving forward.
Totally. It's just like in a game. You have to assess the situation, make decisions under pressure, adjust your strategy on the fly.
And just like in a game, building and engaging with a community can be your secret weapon.
Like Captain Ben has done.
Right.
He's built this incredibly loyal and engaged following.
It's opened up so many opportunities.
I mean, he transformed his audience into a community by truly understanding their needs and consistently providing value.
Yeah. That's something we can all learn from.
For sure.
It's about shifting our mindset from broadcasting to collaboration.
Oh, like that.
You know, user-generated content brings that authenticity and a level of engagement that traditional marketing just can't touch.
For sure.
It's not about pushing a brand message anymore. It's about building a brand world that people actually want to be a part of.
That's a pretty radical shift for a lot of companies, though.
It is, but the ones who are embracing it, they're seeing incredible results.
Yeah.
And it's not just limited to gaming either.
Right.
We're seeing UGC across all sorts of industries, fashion, food, travel. It's becoming like a fundamental part of how we consume and interact with brands.
That's fascinating. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Passion, strategic thinking, community building. What would you say is the big takeaway?
You know, for me, I think gaming, it's like a training ground.
Oh, interesting.
For the skills you need to succeed in this AI age. It's like, think about it. Adaptability. Making decisions under pressure. Collaborating effectively. Those are all things you hone in gaming, and they're so valuable in a world where AI is constantly changing the rules.
It's almost like gaming is like a simulator for the future of work.
Exactly. And one of the most important lessons I think we can learn from gaming is the power of community.
Right.
Like Captain Ben's story shows. Building that strong, engaged community can open so many doors, create incredible opportunities.
Absolutely.
It's about moving beyond just those transactional relationships and really fostering genuine connections.
And it seems like user-generated content is a key part of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
UGC, it's like a secret weapon for brands in this AI age. Think about games like Fortnite, Roblox. They've become these massive platforms for user-generated content where players are creating and sharing their own experiences.
And Catherine D. Henry, the metaverse and Web3 expert we talked about, she's a big proponent of that.
Co-creation, right.
Yeah, she emphasizes that brands need to embrace this. It's about letting go of that need to control the message.
And empowering your community to become co-creators.
Interesting.
You know, when you give your audience the tools and the freedom to create, amazing things can happen.
I think that's a perfect place to wrap up. This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It really has.
It's amazing how much we can learn about leadership, strategy, community building, just by looking at the world of gaming.
I know, right?
So a big thank you to Dr. Elhanan Gazit for his always thought-provoking podcast, and of course, to Captain Ben for sharing his journey.
He's inspiring.
He is. And for everyone listening, don't forget to check out Captain Ben's YouTube channel. And his new course, YouTube from 0 to 100, links are in the episode description. But the question for you is, how can you apply these principles, strategic thinking, community engagement, adaptability, to your own life and work in this increasingly complex, AI-driven world? Remember, power up fast, level up smart,